Hey guys, Brian from PFC here. This is a video we've been meaning to make for a long time. It's really in response to a question we've probably been asked no less than about 500 times. The title of this video is "That's the Way We've Always Done It," and this video is dedicated to Dick Fosbury. We'll actually talk about that in a moment. But the real nexus of this and what we're talking about is the question we've been asked repeatedly, which is in regard to the backup iron sights on the carbine and where they are in relation to the optic. So everybody that asks, they immediately they notice, and we appreciate the good observation skills and attention to detail of noticing that our rear backup iron sight is in front of the optic. We totally get that. What's the rationale? What's the reason for that? Let's talk about that right now. First of all, I don't know of anybody, I've never seen a single person who's ever had an optic, a 1-power optic or a 4-power optic, Trijicon ACOG, EOTech, Aimpoint, LCAN, that optic is not their primary sight. I don't know of anybody who takes and runs that optic as a secondary sight. That's the primary on the weapon. And if that's the primary, we want to position the primary sight in the best possible location. So where is that best possible location? If you can imagine, just simply take a ring with your finger and place it out at full extension. And try to place that on an object and line up your eye behind it. You have to be very precise, and precision is going to require more time. It's going to be slower. If you have a ring of the identical size and bring it back close to your eye, the appearance of the ring becomes much, much larger, and it will tolerate more slop when shooting bilaterally, with a gas mask, with a helmet, in unconventional positions and around barricades. So what does that mean for us? The movement of the optic closer back to the eye is going to allow for greater speed, faster target acquisition. We encourage you to not believe that. We encourage you to take and go out and put this on the clock. Take your optic, run it to the rear address, do 10 presentations on the weapon, run them on a pack timer. Take your optic, move it out to the farthest forward address, do 10 presentations, run it on the pack timer, compare the times, compare the accuracy. We'll let that decide. Next, why is this here? What is that there for? Well, if you look back at the M16A1, the M16A2, those early incarnations had a fixed carrying handle. So when we started slapping optics onto the weapon, they were riding atop the carrying handle or on a cantilever mount that placed them even further forward of the carrying handle. Just by proxy, because of the fixed nature, the rear backup, or the primary backup iron sight, was all the way in the rearwardmost position. It was placed behind the optic. So when we started going to a flat top receiver, just by default, everybody said, what? Well, I guess that backup iron has to go behind the optic. It does not. You now have the freedom, you have the liberty to place it anywhere you want to. For people who talk about eye relief or sight radius or any of those terms, look at an AK-47. Where is the rear iron sight positioned? It is farther forward. It is forward of the dust cover. Look at an 870 shotgun. Where is the rear iron sight? It is forward. Sight radius does not result in greater accuracy. Sight radius affects the amount of adjustment and difference that has on the strike of the round during zero, but it doesn't make you more accurate. Can you take and run this backup iron sight too far forward? Yes, you can, and it becomes problematic, but you don't know until you know. In addition, if you look at my front iron sight, I've actually got that mounted on the weapon backwards. Why? Because that's how it fits best with my flashlight and it deploys. Has that ever caused me to be slower onto that iron or miss a shot? No, absolutely not. And this weapon does not recoil hard enough that the inertia causes that front sight to inadvertently fold down. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't play out like that. Another reason we want to take and have that iron sight further forward or in front of the optic and then a blank space behind the optic is because of the charging handle, working the charging handle. Those large knobs that exist on the port side of the weapon, or for a southpaw like myself, if you choose to run the charging handle by reaching over the top, you're consistently fighting or bumping into that rear iron sight. So a sight that you seldomly will ever even use if you have a good, solid, reliable optic is now getting in the way of your manipulation of the charging handle, which could have an adverse effect under stress. We dedicate this video to Dick Fosbury, who was an Olympic athlete who in 1968 changed the game of the high jump in the Summer Olympics. What Dick Fosbury did was he trained in secret, and he trained to go over that bar face up, backwards. You cannot find a single Olympic athlete who does the high jump today that does it face down. He completely changed the game by thinking outside of the box. There's a lot of our students, a lot of guys downrange that are taking and running this setup with fantastic results. Again, we encourage you, don't believe us. Take and try it for yourself. We think you'll be amazed at the results. We regularly engage targets with this iron setup out to 600 plus meters with no degradation in accuracy or time whatsoever. But you don't know until you know.